Hi everyone, it's Alan with EARTHGLOW, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how I make this beautiful lightweight body butter. So I'm starting out with just some distilled water and vegetable glycerin. This is going to be my wet phase, I believe it's called. This is an emulsified body butter, so you have to do 3 separate phases with this. And right now I am just mixing up that very first phase. And then after this, I'm going to be getting another beaker. I'm first weighing the beaker with everything in it. So I'll tell you why in just a little bit, why that's important. But I'm getting out this next beaker here and I'm putting in my cetyl alcohol, my emulsifying wax, my raw mango butter, and then I will be adding this jojoba oil. And this is going to be what you call I think it's a heated oil phase. And I'm going to be heating both of these up to about 170 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm doing them separate because I'm going to be combining them in just a little bit. Now I'm also pouring in my cool down phase, which is going to be 2 different things. We've got a preservative here, which is absolutely necessary when you have a water-based recipe like this is, where it has water in it. And then I'm also using natural Manuka milk and bergamot honey fragrance oil by Makesy. And I started off with 1%, so that would be 10 grams for what I'm doing. But then I ended up doing 1.5% or 15 grams thereabouts for this formula. This fragrance is one of my absolute favorites. I know it's expensive, but it's so good. And then I'm just kind of stirring that the oils as they melt. I like to melt them very gradually. What you saw in the middle there was some water that I'm going to be adding back in because some of this water is going to evaporate, as you can see that steam. And then I'm going to be adding in however much evaporated. And that's why I took that weight initially of everything, including my beaker, with that water phase. So now we are down to 1997 grams. And I added my water phase into my oil phase, and I'm just giving them a stir initially. And then I'm gonna be pulsing the stick blender on these guys to get this emulsification going. Now, the formula that I'm using today is based on a recipe from Humblebee and Me. If you haven't checked her channel out, I'll have it linked below. She's absolutely amazing with her formulations, but I have modified the recipe to fit my tastes. So after I pulse that for about a minute, I'm just giving it a little bit of a stir with this little silicone spatula, and I'm looking for it to start clumping a little bit on the spatula, just kind of sticking a little bit to it. Now, I like to get these emulsions pretty hot, so I sometimes sit there for quite a while. And my bad habit when I'm making these is that I wait too long to pour. Just stirring and taking the temperature until this gets down to about 115 or so. And then I'll be adding in my cool down phase. Now, it's important to wait until it gets under 115 because the preservative that I'm using, Germall Plus, it's a broad spectrum preservative. It's really, really good for keeping bacterial growth off of these liquid formulations with water, what we call a hydrous formulation. But that preservative, you have to add it under 115 just because it will otherwise become ineffective or not work as well. And what I like to do to combine these is actually a tip that Marie recommends, and she pours just a little bit into the cool down phase and then mixes it, and that helps those small amounts to be able to get incorporated easier. And then what I'm going to be doing is just giving this one last mix with my spatula and then a couple pulses again with the stick blender just to be sure that everything is absolutely combined. And then I will be pouring these. You're gonna see me with a few clumps because I always pour this formula too late. I'm always afraid to pour it because it seems so liquidy, but you have to pour it ideally a little bit sooner than I did. Why I love this recipe is that you can do it in the summertime or when the weather is really warm, and it absolutely will not melt like my normal formula does. I'll have my body butter video for my formula linked above, so that way you guys can check that out. It is my all-time favorite formula. However, this provides a really great alternative, especially in the summer months. And this is also really hydrating too to the skin. It's a little bit less oil heavy than the formula that I use. Well, actually a lot less. So just something to offer for people who like a lighter weight formula, and also something that's really nice for those warmer months in the summer. So just going ahead and pouring these. It always feels so wrong to pour it with it being so liquidy, but you can see on the side of my bowl quite a bit of this already firming up. I need to remember to pour even sooner next time because it'll just help me to minimize any bubbles or inconsistencies in texture. This almost reminds me of like making butter, if any of you have done that. But I'm going to show a little clip at the end so you can see how this formulation soaks into the skin. I do really enjoy it. I did bring down the glycerin just a little bit from what Marie had in her formula. You can see all the clumps here. But I tend to not like things with quite as much glycerin because it feels sticky to me. And even this formula uses what I would say is the max amount of glycerin for me. But oh my goodness, I'm so happy with how these turned out. This last one is my little tester here because as you can see, the texture is just going to be really clumpy, but I'm going to show you all how these feel on the skin. And if you did enjoy this one, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I'm sending all of you peace, love, and light. And I'm wishing all of you happy making.